hook.
Ready to go, huh?
Ready to go. That I recommend highly. Great hook.
See, that's you see, heaven is on a 5-second delay.
Heaven
so that's
is?
what we hear. We hear God hearing what we're saying 5 seconds later. It takes time to get up there.
We have a big audience in heaven.
Oh, yeah. And seems to be growing all the time, unfortunately.
You know who listens? Just found out, Jim Morrison.
Does he really?
And that comes as a surprise to a lot of people who think that maybe he wasn't going to make it to heaven, but he's there.
Well, you know what I named today's show, Mikey? I bet you wouldn't believe this.
Soul Kitchen.
Mikey and Vinnie's Soul Kitchen. Although it says Mike and Vinnie's Soul Kitchen, that damn autocorrect. We're going to fix that right now because we can't continue this show.
I can't be Mike. That's not going to work. This is Mike.
It's not going to work. And now it's taking me to some place that I just add graphics to my. I don't want to do all it. See, here's the problem with Facebook.
The drop down menus.
It changes everything.
Every time.
Every time.
That's the name of my new book. I'm changing everything every time.
Yeah. So what you wind up with is this allegorical creation of you're trying to find something on the fly.
And have you ever tried to ever tried to discuss things with the fly?
Yes, I have actually.
They don't always hang around.
I think, well, there's really not a lot of places for them to go. But now here's the thing.
Flies can't.
You watched the movie Spirit of St. Louis, right? With the Lindbergh story.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Lindbergh asked the all-time greatest question.
Should I hang out with the Nazis for another afternoon?
No, even better than that.
Okay.
He's in the plane and he's going over the Atlantic and there's a fly in the plane with him. And he's trying to figure out if the fly adds weight to the plane.
I thought that he would ask the question, is the fly flying as fast as I'm flying, or is he flying at his own speed, separate and apart from the speed of the plane?
Well, Mikey, I gotta say that's a good. I wouldn't. But
the answer,
I wouldn't dispute that, but
the answer is yes to his question.
Does the fly actually does add weight to the plane?
Not a lot, but there's definitely, the fly is an element of mass.
Right, but is the fly adding weight to the plane when it's flying?
No.
Or just when it's sitting on his, let's say, arm?
On the arm.
If he swats the fly,
then the body still
now spreads all over the place.
Yeah,
is the volume still the same, or does now air take over and in essence make a mousse out of the innards of the fly?
If he really smushes it, there's probably some element of loss in terms of total weight. But it still adds to the total weight of the plane. The complete weight of the plane, it must contain whatever the fly weighs. And I don't know what fly, there's no flies that come, there's no flies named Haystack Calhoun, put it that way.
No big flies is what you're saying.
Not well, there's the biggest of all the flies, but they're probably not that big.
Right. So you could, but if you had a box of flies, would the flies or the box be way more?
Well, each fly would weigh what it weighs, and it would add to the total weight plus the weight of the box.
So if you now had that same volume, that same number of flies flying around in the plane,
as they land, the weight of the plane would increase. Now, did that fly speak English or French? Because it's going to have to make up its mind.
Well, going that way toward France. So I'm thinking it's an English speak. I'm thinking he picked it up at Roosevelt Field, where flies are known to hang out.
Jersey fly?
Oh, no. Roosevelt Field is on Long Island.
Oh, it's the New York fly.
The
It's
New
a,
York
that's
fly,
a Long Island fly.
a Long Island fly, which is a totally different kind of fly. Now I could call up my friend Debbie and ask her, do the flies on her dog Charlie weigh more than a New Jersey fly?
I'd put my money on the Jersey fly for coming in a couple pounds more, or a couple. What is a small weight, a measure of weight?
Kilogram.
Millifly, millileg. What does the leg of a fly weigh?
Beats the crap out of me.
And he beat the crap out of the fly, which reduced the weight overall. But
Well, we don't know. No, he was kind to the fly. I think he actually let the fly live because he
they were buddies.
spoke to it most of the way over.
Did he give it a name?
Only after it served him his meal.
And that would be Hortense, female, or flies male, female?
Well, I think they probably have both, don't they? Some flies lay eggs. Some flies
lay eggs, and they turn into terrible things.
Yeah, so I mean, if you ever watched that Doctor, what do you call it, shows on
Dr.
reality TV, there's always flies that seem to lay their eggs in somebody's wound, and they open up his stomach, and flies come.
They're opportunists, I'll say that. They're not very pleasing individuals, but they are
Well, they're
opportunists.
just not particular eaters.
No, they. We cannot say that they are particular. They will eat just about anything, and I'll let you put the four-letter word where it belongs.
Yeah, I mean, it's well known. You're walking down the street and you see somebody who didn't take care of their dog, and what's the first thing you see there?
A pile of poop.
Well, on top of the pile of poop.
Flies, sometimes the green ones.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's what that green is, if that's a badge of honor. Maybe you get that. I know if I had to eat poop, I'd be turning green.
Well, they seem to enjoy it because they eat it, they lay their larvae, and then they die. So that old concept of eat shit and die actually exists.
Well, I used to go to a restaurant in New York that many people would get sick and die after they ate at, but that was a diner, not a.
Is it still there? It's got
a. No, I think it's gone now.
I would hate to think that White Castle is gone and that place is still there.
Well, I'm sure that there's similar places like it that are still there. I mean, I know the airline diner is still there. I don't want to imply that their food was sickening or anything like that. Only if it was cooked by the night cook. If you got there in the day after 6 a.m., you were okay.
Does it say in the menu, warning, our night cook is a murderer?
No, it says get here after 6 a.m. if you know what's good for you.
Do not eat here. Well, it's up to you. Take your chances.
The problem is, like in many establishments, the clientele at 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning is usually fairly intoxicated.
They're not as particular as that midday crowd.
Right. You're not sitting there thinking, oh, is this guy, dipping his wick into my scrambled eggs?
Oh, hadn't thought of that. Believe me. I had not thought of that at all.
I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
The day that we got cut off the air during our avocado story.
By the avocado people.
Yeah, but it was it the avocado people or was it the cartel? Somebody pulled the plug on us.
It was somebody that had something to do with avocados.
Well, the avocado shortage has begun because the cartel thought that they could improve matters by threatening the U.S. inspectors, the health inspectors. That didn't go so well.
I'm not going to be happy about this, Michael. I have to tell you right now, I am not going to be happy. I mean, I've just gotten myself to where, I'll pick up an avocado during the day instead of a hamburger and just slice it open and eat it and psych myself into thinking I'm enjoying this as much as I am a Big Mac.
Absolutely. Well, there are avocado growers in California and in Florida and in other tropical locales. But the only state that was allowed to ship avocados to the United States from Mexico was Michoacan. And that's where the problem was. The cartel members decided they could cut in on the profits of the avocado growers by threatening the U.S. inspectors. That didn't work out so well.
No,
So
because we tend to send the Army and Navy in for things like that.
send the Marines to grow the avocados. What are they doing that's so important?
Yeah, yeah. We asked
They're-
asked several Central American countries what we do when you mess with the sugar cane.
Yeah, we just figured it out. We'll do it someplace else, or we won't do it at all, or we'll figure out a way to do. We'll create it in the laboratory.
Right.
We'll ask the Shpolpakians to grow avocados because apparently,
Shpolpakia's got plenty of land and fertile soil, Michael.
and they're not going to war, or so it seems. So Shpolpakia can get down to growing avocados.
It seems like, although I was listening to a general this morning, a former
Oh,
general.
they're good for war. You can't have a war without a general.
Right. Yeah, well, you could, but it never. Everybody winds up going in the wrong direction.
It's not a decent war. It's not a proper war.
Right. You can't have a war unless you have some old guy directing it. You know, showing, saying, you know.
But from another room, he's not going to get involved.
Right. He's in a room with a risk game on the table.
Getting a call. Pardon my.
You want to take it? I mean, we can wait.
Well, you won't be able to hear the other end. It's Kailani.
She hasn't figured out now. Let's see. We're doing this, what, almost 3 years, right?
I know.
She hasn't figured out not to call you.
She's a mother. She's a mother. And mothers want something, they just dial.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't wait.
I remember I had one of those. Matter of fact, I had two. I had one that was my mother and one that was my child's mother, and it was the same drill.
Same thing. So here's what I wanted to say that I got distracted for because we got cut off by the cartels in Michoacan, and that is California is going through a drought. And it is the largest and most extensive drought in the last 1,200 years. They've gone back and back and back. And they found out that in the year 800 and in the year 1500, we had droughts, but not as bad as this one. This drought is the worst in 2,100 years. Yeah, 2,100 years. And last night at 5 o'clock, the heavens opened up and dumped on us for the first time in weeks. Thunder, lightning, torrential tropical rain, hail, all across Los Angeles. And in fact, they closed the beaches because of lightning strikes. So that's the first time I can remember that happening.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when did I ever do that?
You could still go if you wanted to go to the beach, but they wouldn't recommend it.
Would they not rescue you if you
Nope. Beach is closed, but I'm drowning. Well, then hurry up about it because we're closed. So that's what happened last night. I got home. Kristen and I were being the tutu and the Commodore. And when we got home, the sky, we just made it off the freeway. The skies opened up, and man, it really came down like you can't believe. It was really like a tropical storm.
Wow. That's just is it scary when it starts raining like that down there? I mean, is it the people like it? Because I know people aren't used to rain in California unless you're from Northern California, and even now
it doesn't count. It counts for nothing.
It so long. Do people get like kind of whacked out about it now?
Well, no one knows how to drive in the rain, of course, in Southern California. That's a factor. So I don't know how many people died in the storm last night by making foolish.
Laugh at it, but it's true.
They make foolish choices on the freeway and expire. What I do remember from the neighborhood we lived in a while ago was that there was a slight hill, and the water would come rushing down the hill in the gutters and take the garbage and recycling containers that are on wheels and just roll them to the bottom of the hill where they would collect.
Well, it makes it easy for the garbage guys to come and
just wait at the bottom of the hill. They'll come to you.
Sit at the bottom of the hill, and eventually if Muhammad won't go to the garbage will come to Muhammad.
We've seen a lot of that lately, I think.
Yes. Now, one thing that always amazed me is you expect people in Southern California not to be able to drive in the rain, right? I mean, it like never rains in Southern California, but man, let me warn you.
Yeah, but same thing in Seattle. No one can drive in the snow.
Right. Well, not even in the snow for the first couple of days that it rains after summer. people get whacked out. They can't drive. They're sliding. And I mean, they invented rainy cities here. The name of one of the names of the place is Rain City.
Yep.
They had a sports team here named the Rain.
And don't forget the Rain Man.
And of course, yes, Sean Kemp, Rain Man. So if there's any city in the country that people should immediately go, oh, okay, it's raining, let me switch my driving habits
Right.
to a more safe, more appropriate drive, not in Seattle.
No.
It's almost like this attitude that we're going to defeat the rain. If we don't drive like it's raining, the rain will go away.
It's an attitude thing. We just won't bend. We're the Novak Djokovic of the West Coast.
Right.
We will not give in.
They're not going to catch us not driving correctly in the rain. Not
a chance. We will not. You know what? Freedom from the rain. That's what we want.
Meanwhiles, you have people who are driving up and down the freeway at 75 and 80 miles an hour with big four-wheel drive trucks that hydroplane in the rain when you hit the brake. And yeah, I mean, there's just, there's a foot of water between the tire and the road. I am an automotive expert, but I'm a physics expert enough to tell you that's a recipe for disaster.
The Washington state troopers will tell you that all these accidents could be prevented. All of them could be prevented if people simply drove at a sensible speed for the conditions that they're in, whether it be snow, ice, rain, wind, whatever, or sun for that matter. You ever drive in the afternoon when the sun's coming right in your eyes?
Yeah.
But we can't do that. There's something about our species that allows us to make bad decisions at 70 miles an hour and think that we're just going to skate and get away with it. Everyone else will adjust.
Well, I've always said that the mindset that most people have is not that the car stops when you step on the brake,
the world
but that
stops.
the world stops when you step on the brake.
Oh,
okay. And that's the one thing that they need to teach in every driving course.
The world does not stop.
It should be printed on the front page of the driver's manual. The world does not stop when you touch the brake. The car stops.
In fact, you should. I'm pretty sure about this. I don't know if I'm absolutely true. We need a physicist to tell us, but I don't believe the world has brakes of any sort.
I don't think so. I mean, I think I think Frank Sinatra said it so well. This big old world just keeps spinning along or around.
There you go.
Yeah, it just keeps going. It's not going to stop for you, for them, for dinosaurs, for anything. It's going to keep. Now, what condition it's in while it's spinning
can't help you.
That's up to us.
Yeah, that's up to another singer from New Jersey. You can't say who.
Right. That's up to us. But the fact that it's spinning, we ain't going to stop that.
No.
There's only two things that are going to stop that, and that's a Krypton-like disaster, which really wasn't good for anybody except Superman and the guys in the Phantom Zone.
And that kind of disaster, doesn't it have a fix-it button? Can't Superman fix it?
He cannot step on the brakes to stop Krypton from exploding. If he could have, he would have.
Now, this drought that I'm talking about, and I said 2,100 years, that's dyslexia. It's 1,200 years of drought. We haven't had a drought on the planet in the West for 1,200 years like the one we're having right now. How is that affecting Seattle? Because it's theoretically, it's affecting Oregon and Washington as much as California.
Not as much as you would think. I mean, I don't know that there's any save water mandates going on up here or telling people not. Now, I know that several years ago when there was a drought up here, they put in a lot of different water recycling things. I know car washes now, like Brown Bear, and those places, they all now use recycled or well water.
Still there on Mercer?
Oh, yes, they're all over the place. I know that manufacturing plants are required to use a certain amount of their water to has to be recycled, well water, that kind of thing. I wonder when we start to build these chip factories that everybody's talking about, it takes an incredible amount of water
The
to
process
build
is,
these chips,
why do you need water to cool the process?
to cool the process, to wash the chips, to do. You need a ton. I forget the figure, but it's in the thousands of gallons for a chip.
Well, they should make them put in desalinization plants if they're going to make a chip plant factory, have the desalinization right next to it.
I wonder if that'll work. I mean, I don't know. I'm not hip on chips enough to know. I know that the unsalted potato chip is not the greatest taste
No,
thing in the world.
no, I
Now,
reject that.
Does that go for a silicon wafer?
They're not very tasty either, but they are valuable.
They are valuable, but wiser minds than I would have to find that out and research that and check it out. But I would have thought, I thought that was a major reason why many of the manufacturing plants left California.
Well, that and taxes. And
Well,
just the
yeah, but
cost of doing
cost
business.
of water for them was getting, because the commercial concerns pay a different price for water.
And if we're in a 1,200-year drought, why bring your company to California and tell everybody, by the way, we're going to use a lot of water? And anybody have a problem with that?
Well, evidently nobody in California does, because they keep building housing complexes
As
that
many
are
as they
going to
can.
use water, and nobody says, well, maybe we ought to hang on here a second, because we're putting these houses out here east of Lancaster, and there's no water for 200 miles, but we'll figure it out when we get the house built.
That's real estate development. Real estate development in California makes people go gaga. It's just like driving in the rain. They can't stop themselves. That's not business. That's development. You
Right.
don't understand. We're not building houses. We're developing the land.
Until they turn the spigot on and there's no water to be had.
It always comes back to the spigot.
It's all about the spigot, baby, one way or the other. Whether
Low
you
tech.
dip it in some spaghetti or you're trying to cool down your chips.
Bolognese. You can't cool down your chips with bolognese sauce.
Yeah, no. Well, you could, but it would be mighty expensive.
Yeah.
And then you have to clean, and you probably could. Actually, you couldn't, because in my limited knowledge of how this all works, the acid in the tomato sauce would probably wreak havoc on your chips.
We had a strange thing happen. I can't figure out for the life of me why this became a thing. But you may have heard about the Rams winning the Super Bowl.
Yes, I did. I heard something to that effect.
So they're going to have a parade today. They're probably getting ready to do it downtown LA right now.
You're going, right?
In my mind, in my heart, I'll be there. But the interesting thing about it, they said, hey, it's a championship city. Why just have the Rams? Why don't we have the Lakers, who haven't won shit? And why don't we have the Dodgers, who haven't won anything for a while? And I wondered where in the world this idea came from. It's like, and let's also have Academy Award winners who haven't won any awards. Let them come to the parade. And television shows that aren't popular that no one watches, have them come to the parade. So the idea, it was even discussed in the LA Times this morning. Yes, the Rams deserve a parade. No, the Lakers and Dodgers do not. You have to be a world champion to get a world champion parade.
Usually.
But apparently not in this case, where the only team they left out was the Clippers. Why can't the Clippers come? They haven't won anything.
They should be at the head of the parade.
They should be first. Yeah, start the parade with the Clippers. And now people you don't know, here's another big guy. Who's he?
They toyed with the idea of that back. I remember in 73, when the Mets lost the World Series to the Oakland A's in 7 games.
Yeah.
They toyed at one part with having a parade. And the argument just came up that, we give parades to people that have accomplished something. As much as we love the Mets and Tom Seaver and Jerry Koosman and John Matlack and all those guys. They didn't win it.
Yeah.
And it's called the Canyon of Champions.
For a good reason.
For a reason. It's champions. So sorry. So they took it, and what they did is, I'll never forget this. They had a celebration when they came off the plane. They drove them all over to Flushing Meadows, which was under construction at the time.
So they got stuck in traffic.
And I don't know, probably about 20 of them showed up at Flushing Meadows, and they had a stage set up, and they came out and they waved to the crowd and they left, and the crowd went, "Yeah, let's go Mets,"
Yeah, that was worthy.
No Lindsey Nelson, no Ralph Kiner, no Bob Murphy, no Mrs. Payson, no nothing.
No Mr. Met.
I think, well, no, actually, no, there was no Mr. Met. Those were the days when the mascot didn't leave the ballpark.
I see. Oh, dear.
The mascot stayed, you didn't see the mascot like, matter of fact, some games you didn't even see the mascot. It was just there on Sundays. And everybody was happy. You don't have a parade of champions for people that don't win the champion. You appreciate them, you show them you love them.
We'll wait till next year.
Buy a hat or something, but it's wait till next year. It's the fine tradition of New York that wait till next year. We'll come back and we'll get you. If you have a parade for somebody when they get kicked and they're down, then maybe they don't want to get up again.
This is why they don't have any parades in Shpolpakia. They just don't have them.
Well, I have the one parade every year, but that's a non-sectarian, non-political parade. It's the running of the pigs.
And do they run all the way down Route 66 from one border of Shpolpakia to the other?
What they do is it's an interesting parade. They line the pigs up on one end of Shpolpakia.
Yeah.
And then they line everybody who has a certificate from the Gdansk School of Butchery.
Oh, an axe to grind.
On the other end of Route 66.
Well, when those two meet, my God.
And then they shoot an arrow into the air because there's a strict gun control in Shpolpakia.
And now we know why. Yeah.
And the two start running at each other. And when somebody calls for bacon, event is over.
I can help you with that. Yeah. Or who's ready for bacon?
When you hear that morning sizzle.
Now the pigs run to their death like that, willingly run toward the.
Yeah. I guess a couple of them, go the other way. Pigs aren't the stupidest animals in the world.
And do they have wild hogs? Because you wouldn't want to tangle with one of those.
I don't think they make a distinction. I think they take all little fat things and let them run one way. Usually a couple of kids get caught up in the thing, but it's Shpolpakia.
Yeah, child bacon is not that bad. You can hardly tell it from the original. Yeah. Oh, you think you haven't?
Yeah, I know.
Shpolpakia BLT.
And wherever they meet, and then where the two meet, the first pig and the first butcher, that's where they hold the annual Shpolpakia 400.
And 400 what?
The race they have.
Oh, it's a race.
Yeah, it's a mile race. It takes them 400 hours to complete it because they use Yugos.
They don't have a car of their own? They don't have the Shpolpakia GTO?
No, the closest they ever came is they sent two people to work at the Yugo plant.
Oh, and I was speaking of cars. There is a new Mercedes-Benz AMG EQE with 677 horsepower, according to the Los Angeles Times.
Right.
And I wondered, oh, by the way, it's electric.
Yes.
And I wondered if I should get that one or should I buy the car I saw yesterday in traffic coming home before the water came out of the sky, the C63, the new one. God, it was a beauty.
Well, the C63 is going to be a gas, it's
a guzzler.
It's a smaller gas-powered car.
Yeah, the C63 used to be a longer.
No, I think it's about the same. It's there's the C, and the E is the big one. The C is the kind of the smaller version of the big one. Listen, I'm a Mercedes-Benz fan. I like their cars. I still don't think that there is a more luxurious car. Now, the Genesis certainly has moved up the ladder. The Lexuses are nice. The BMWs are nice. But, there's still, for people of our generation, I think there's still, much as there is with Cadillac. And let me tell you something, some of the new Cadillacs that are coming along are pretty spectacular as well.
But you've been a fan of Cadillac, a big fan for the last 5 years with all the
even
new
longer,
models.
because they're supposed to be headed and should be headed in an electric direction,
Right,
but
right.
they're all still, Cadillac is still cranking out some pretty impressive gasoline engine cars. They're a Blackwing series
Mhm.
that debuted last year is a spectacular performance car. It's a Corvette with 4 doors, and it's kind of taken over from their V series.
Wow. All I can say is wow about that one. I want one of those.
Yeah, it's a spectacular vehicle. I think they're pushing about 700 or 800 horsepower out of it.
Phew. Is there an electric version?
There will be.
Of course there will. Well, you'd love driving around LA because yesterday I saw there's so many cars.
Oh yeah,
Just
yeah. No,
so many
LA's
cars.
probably the city I should be living in.
I saw 2 yesterday that really caught my eye. One was a baby blue Bentley, which was fabulous. Saw it at Woodland Hills yesterday. Just the color and the fit and finish and the whole presentation. When it drives by, it looks down on all the other cars. It
Yeah,
says,
yeah.
you're a nice car. You're a very nice car, but I'm a Bentley. Now let's proceed. One side. And the other, remember we talked about that matte gray, battleship gray color that's sweeping different models. It's got sort of a interesting, dull but polished finish to it. That's interesting.
It's a flat color.
And I saw one in periwinkle blue yesterday with that finish, and it was just so striking. It stood out from all the other cars in the lane because of the paint finish on its color.
Car makers have figured out that it doesn't have to be shiny.
No, it can be more dramatic without the shine.
There's an allure to a flat-based color on certain cars. I'm driving a Mini Cooper this week. It has that flat gray.
Right.
And it's a beautiful car. That color does something to a car. It accentuates the lines. It hides some of the flaws. Because almost every car has some kind of flaw in it. In design, almost everyone, not all, and it really, I think it's a spectacular color. Now the problem with them is they're getting so popular that it's going to be pretty soon like a white car.
Yeah, I got you.
Just be, you'll be clicking your thing to figure out which car is yours.
But does the auto industry have a name for that kind of finish?
I think it's is it a flat, a matte, I think maybe.
Flat matte.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah, it's a sharp, and again, they're sharp finishes. They make me laugh in some respects because they take me back to when they would get a car, no matter how new or old it was, they would immediately put it into primer. You'd immediately see some guy out with a couple of cans of Krylon, just, going over the car, putting it in primer. And I know more than one kid that caught a beating.
Oh,
because he put his father's car into primer.
His brand new car.
His 2-year-old Chevy Impala.
I paid extra for that, whatever color it was. I can't.
Now you're going to pay for it.
You're going to pay extra.
no allowance for 11 years for you.
Hey, there's a Pittsburgh story that I bet you know about that has to do with the Penguins.
Do I know about it? I don't know.
Sidney Crosby scored
Oh,
his
500th goal. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know you always thought a lot of him as a.
Yeah.
As a,
Oh, yeah. 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 Listen, he's one of the greatest players of all time. I don't know if he's the greatest. You get an argument about Lemieux. You get an argument for Richard. It's hard to compare eras. I think harder in hockey than it is in many other sports because the violence was not only condoned, but it was encouraged.
Oh, it was encouraged
in the earlier days of the sport. And, it's sometimes it's hard to score goals when you got a gorilla, draped around you.
Hey, in female hockey in the Olympics, the Canadian gal, they were doing high sticks and elbows, and she grabbed somebody by the shirt and stood him up against the glass and said, "No more of that. I'm not taking that crap from you." And it was just so refreshing to see it.
Well, they're not going to take, if you're a hockey player, you're generally not going to take crap from anybody.
Right.
You're out there and it's a sport where it's still a blood sport. Now, there are some people that will say, well, that makes it a garage league.
No.
And
not if you're good.
I don't know, maybe in some ways you could say that because there seems to be selective enforcement on things like high sticking and things like hitting somebody on the head.
There's selective enforcement on the drug rules too, as we're finding out in the Olympics.
And the sex rules.
Yeah.
Well, not Olympics, but in hockey. Yeah, well, I mean, that's another thing that we haven't touched on, which is, how do you allow this woman to continue to compete?
Kamila Valieva.
Yeah, I thought she was the woman doing the AT&T commercials for a second.
Same thing. Same thing. The one on the AT&T commercials a little more clever.
Yeah. Well, I don't know her, so.
There's two Camillas in the headlines. Kamila Valieva, who is the skater from Russia, and Camilla Bowles, who can't stay healthy enough.
Who's going to be the queen?
The whole royal family's coming apart. Andrew settled for millions out of court, Princey Andrew, and Camilla is sick as a dog, if you'll forgive the expression.
But they still love her, and they love the royal family. I mean, they complain about them all the time.
Some do,
but they love them, right? I mean, could you see England without a royal family?
I think that they've had the Queen for so long that they have an affection for her that I can understand.
Yeah, I mean, she's been there through thick and thin. Once she take the throne in 52, I think.
She took it, but we haven't been able to find it since.
She hit it. Some say that one of her sons sold it.
Andrew again.
You can't leave the furniture around with this guy.
He sold it for a date with the Paris Hilton.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind if they have a king. I don't know if the king really or a queen. I mean, I don't think that the king and a queen do much as far as actually, I don't know that
it's the princess you can't keep a handle on.
Right. I don't know if Elizabeth could say, come on up here and we're going to behead you.
That I'd like to see that, though.
I would pay to see that as long as it wasn't me getting beheaded.
Televise it on Channel 4 right after 8 out of 10 cats.
Exactly. One out of 2 people is going to get their head taken off here in a few minutes.
It ain't me, so that means
England gets to vote on which one.
There you go. Make it a contest. Everybody loves a contest.
Right. We're gonna raise some money for the Royal Healthcare Fund.
Stick it and win, and name it and claim it.
For a shilling and a farthing, you get to vote. Now that's an election.
Now there you go.
One becomes prime minister, the other one
becomes cat food.
Becomes the head waiter.
Or dog food. Dogs will eat anything. Cats are a little more particular.
Yeah, cats aren't gonna. Yeah, dogs will. But
By the
yeah,
way, it's going to cost me a fortune paying all the way through the summer, but both cats are home. Both cats are assuming almost approaching healthiness. So that was a rough tumble with both cats in the hospital for a while.
yeah, but think of it like this: you bought your doctor a new car.
He's got a nice new car.
He's whispering to those cats,
He's
but
got
he's doing it in style.
he says it's the AMG EQE 677 horsepower electric Mercedes Benz. And he paid cash.
So your cat doctor is a cool cat.
Oh, he's cool now. Coolest cat in the neighborhood.
You know, who says you have to be a star to live in Hollywood?
You don't have to be a star to live in Hollywood. You can be like on Valentine's Day, there was a skywriter riding across the sky in LA, and he wrote it 2 or 3 times, but the wind was blowing so much that day that it was hard to make out what it was. So we could never actually understand what had been written in the sky until later that day when my daughter took a picture of it, and it turned out to be Kanye West writing to Kim Kardashian saying, "You can hate me, you can help me, if it helps, you can hate me."
Get out.
Yeah. Whose house is that? I thought it was my house. Get out. It's your house. That's my house. Anyway.
You know what? I think that's headed right toward Justice Judy.
Let's hope so.
That's a case that's headed right toward Justice Judy.
If we can get 13 weeks out of it, nobody cares. Put it on Discovery Channel.
Don't you think they ought to have? I was thinking about this the other day. I was looking at a picture of my lately departed Aunt Rose, who was 96, 97, 98 when she left this mortal coil. And Aunt Rose had a boyfriend when I was younger that she met at the 1939 World's Fair.
Was his name Kanye?
No. Uncle Bill, we called him.
That's different.
And broke up
name.
with him just after the 1964-65 World's Fair. For reasons that, still nobody really knows about.
So they're waiting for a World's Fair in Seattle.
So I was just wondering if maybe there should be a show called The 90-Year Fiancee. And you get all these old people talking about the unrequited loves in their lives.
We were going to get married, but we just couldn't find the right moment.
Right. But we now, here we are, and you're 92 years old, and here's Bill, and we found him and we brought him back to you.
Where'd you find him? In front of the cotton candy booth at the World's Fair. You've been there for days. He
was working on the Better Living Pavilion.
Yeah. Look at this modern house. You'll never see anything like this.
So I thought that would be an interesting take on the 90, because they have so many different now 90-day fiance franchises.
There's a lot of that in LA.
After the 90 days, before the 90 days, how did you get so ugly in 90 days? It's just the whole 90-day thing. So I thought that they could change it up a little bit and get another 3 or 4 series out of it.
We got to put it on the right channel though, because it's a little out of the demo for MTV.
Oh, I think older. Well, it's Discovery, which I guess is part of CBS, right? But I guess you could put it on Paramount Plus.
I think Discovery is now part of CNN, or the other way around.
Huh.
Part of the Warner package. In fact, when they got rid of Jeff Zucker, his girlfriend said, well, the reason that they're firing him is because we had a relationship that we didn't discuss, but I'm staying. Well, that was one opinion. That was one opinion. And the chairman of Discovery and CNN said, here's how it works around here. You don't get to say when you're in and when you're out. So I just wanted to say, you're out.
You're out. See you later. You know who the guy that has to be laughing about that whole thing is? Jeffrey Toobin.
Well, he's back.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is he's, here he is. He's got his job back. And I guess they have the Toobin rule now. He has to keep clapping his hands when he's doing an interview.
Keep him where we can see him, buddy.
Keep where we can see him, pal.
But he did the mea culpa, and they brought him back. And I think, that's fair. It would never happen in small town radio, but it happened there.
Yeah, no, they I mean, and it was probably Zucker that brought it back, right?
Could have been, could have been. Never happened in Fresno, but it happened on national television.
I thought that was interesting to see him again. You know, I mean, I know he's been back a few months. I mean, I remember the first time I saw him, I said, "Oh, whoa,
He back.
talk about a bounce back, man." I guess I guess that bodes well for Brian Williams, right?
Well, he got offered the job at CNN and didn't take it. But at the same time, uh, the guy from Fox,
Oh,
Mike
Wallace,
Wallace,
Mike
yeah,
Wallace, yeah.
Chris Wallace
Chris Wallace, right? Mike Wallace's son.
is coming over to CNN Plus. I don't know if he's going to be on the air as well, or if he's just going to be on the CNN
Yeah,
Plus.
I wonder how that's all going to work, because you're going to be paying, I don't know, what is it, $10 a month, $5 a month for CNN Plus, and are they going to let those guys and women bleed over
They have to.
into CNN? I mean, probably it's the only way they're going to sell it.
And also, if you've got Chris Wallace working for you and you don't put him on the air, what have you done? What are you doing? How are you spending your money? How are you spending your time? People want to see him on the air, and he should be anchoring right after Wolf Blitzer. I mean, he should take the spot that was left by Chris Cuomo and let it be done, unless he has an idea that he's going to be more of a specialist.
Well, I'm wondering if that's, I mean, I don't know what their plans are, but it seems like you're gonna, if you're asking people to pay for content, you have to offer them something that you're not going to get on the free content, don't you?
Hopefully.
And so if you want Chris Wallace and you can get Chris Wallace on regular CNN by just turning on your television set, why would you give him $4.95 a month?
Well, why would you give him $7 million a year or whatever he's making to not be on the major product? Because CNN Plus, it could very well fail.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, but they're also going to have, like, Anderson Cooper's going to be on there. I saw a bunch of different, I mean, they've amassed an all-star
Lineup.
lineup of news people. Meanwhile, hopefully MSNBC is going to pick up Chris Cuomo and stick him in Rachel Maddow's spot.
Well, she's coming back in 2 months.
We'll see.
Yeah. In fact, she's already coming back for the State of the Union coverage, so we'll see about that. I miss her. I miss her writing and preparation and the way she put together a story.
Yeah, she certainly was or is the best prepared news person, or she's not news, opinion person. I mean, certainly much better prepared than the clowns over at Fox.
Oh God, they don't have to prepare. They've come to the point where they can say anything, do anything. There's no repercussions. There's no backlash. There's no checks and balances. There's no journalism. There's no who, what, where, when, and how. There's none of that. You just say what you feel like and get me to the top of the hour.
America gets what it deserves. America gets what it deserves, and America has proven that for a large part of people, they don't want the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
What they want to hear. They're not watching Fox because they want the truth. They're watching Fox because they're part of a club, the disgruntled white boys club.
How comes we don't have a sports channel like that? Fox Sports, where any team that you want can win.
You know what? I'm sure somebody is thinking about it. I'm sure that there are computer-generated files with games that turned out the way you wanted them. There's probably one floating around of the Bill Buckner catching the ball in 1986,
and the guy's out. He's out. I tell you,
Wilson's out, and the Red Sox win the game.
Cincinnati just won the Super Bowl. I got the tape right here. Here's how they did it.
Yeah, I mean, with computers and manipulating video these days, it's not hard to do. What game made you cry when you were a kid? Well, I remember my the game I went to with the Cardinals and the Mets at the Polo Grounds, and the Mets lost it in the top of the ninth inning, and They couldn't. Oh, we'll fix it for you.
We'll fix that.
We'll fix that. And you go back and you rejigger up the tape, and here you go, kid.
In fact, the Mets, and to save you time, the Mets are going to go ahead in the fourth inning, so you don't have to stay to the end.
Yeah, you could just boom, and it saves us a lot of trouble too. We didn't waste all that tape.
Yeah, all those useless those extra 4 innings, you don't need them. In fact, games should be 4 innings long. Now that
Harry Chitty gets the game-winning hit and is traded right after the game back to the team he came from.
I wish that Hobie Landreth could get the winning run. Can you fix that?
We can do anything, Mike. We can do anything. We can have Ed Kranepool wearing his original number throughout his career.
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
We can do it all for you, pal.
And Cal Ripken only played 7 games in his entire career, and the rest of that is just false, crazy, insane, fake news.
People don't realize this, but in 1979, Billy played 55 of those games.
That's right.
Cal.
Nobody knew. Nobody knew. Nobody cared. They
Who
look
knew?
a lot. They look a
Earl
lot.
Weaver. He's the only guy that knew, and he ain't telling anybody.
And the Manning family. There's only one guy. There's only one guy that does them all. He does all the voices and all the
Everything.
He does everything.
He does everything. There's no 2 people that could look like that, sound like that, and make that much money.
And his name is Phil Manning. He does the
Phil
whole
Manning.
damn thing. Yeah.
Don't we know Phil Manning?
Do we?
I'm trying to think. I think I know that.
On my take it as you love it sports channel, you can know a guy named Phil Manning. In fact, he'll come over and sign a jersey for you, even though he never played.
Any sports jersey you want, 1995.
Yeah, signed by anybody from any era.
Well, I always thought that would be a good business for me to go into, Michael. Celebrity autographs.
The Honus Wagner jersey
It's not
sale.
real, but you now have a Honus Wagner signed autograph, signed jersey.
They didn't even
made in China.
Well, Honus Wagner was very fond of China. He loved Chinese food. He always got the minced egg foo young.
He used to go to that little place on the corner of Jane and Mansfield.
That was a busy place sometimes.
Yeah.
Post game, that was a busy spot.
A busy place over there in Carnegie, where they have a monument to Honus erected across the street from the Russian Orthodox Church.
Really?
Oh, yeah, right on Mansfield Avenue.
I ask you really because in the world that we live in, anything can be done, and it may or may not be real. So
no.
Just checking on
that. I may have a picture of it somewhere, but there's an actual mural and a memorial. It's right, I think, there's like a lodge of some kind and a VFW hall, and I think it's right in the parking lot between those two. And it pays homage to Honus, who was from Carnegie, and played right, I believe, where those things, and it is truly on the corner of Mansfield Avenue and Jane Street.
Good grief. I did not know truly was a factor there. I thought you had made that up, and I thought
no, it's an actual corner, Jane and Mansfield.
And is there a corner of Gina and Lola Brigida?
No.
There should be.
But I always thought that they should have played that up a little bit more. That they never really
they didn't capitalize on that.
They didn't capitalize on it. They should have definitely had, bought her a car and and parked it on that corner.
Free parking for life.
Free parking for his have Marissa Hargitay come out and dedicate it.
Buy her a car and have her run it into the back of a flatbed truck.
Sure. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't be that. I mean, that's a little cold, don't you think?
It's awful, but what are you going to do? But so what we're saying is it's easier to get an autographed Honus Wagner jersey than it is to get an avocado in this town.
I think, Mikey, that's fairly the lesson of the show today.
That's the whole lesson of the show.
If we do a what have we learned today, which I always thought was a great segment that Craig Ferguson used to do. What have we learned on the show today? I think, yeah, I think that's if we take anything away today, it's that it's easier to get a signed Hannes Wagner jersey than it is to get avocados.
And Novak Djokovic has got a runny nose. We learned that. He's
And
feeling a
what else?
little.
And we also learned that there's a corner of Jane and Mansfield, an
But-
actual corner.
At the same time, not a corner of Gina and Lola Brigida.
Right. I will dig up the picture and use it as a background. I've been using lovely Puget Sound here behind me as a background and a lovely sunset from a couple of weeks ago. But I'll dig up that Jane and Mansfield and dig that up and stick it up there for
Freaky Friday.
Friday's Freaky Fractious show.
It's freaky, it's fractious, and we'll broadcast live from the corner of Jane and Mansfield.
Maybe we should. I haven't figured this out yet. I'm getting an electric car today.
This does not surprise me.
I'm getting the Mustang Mach E GT.
Ooh, take me for a ride. Take me for a ride.
Sure. I'm trying to see if I can plan a road trip to California.
Do you know anybody who lives in California?
Oh, yeah, I know tons of people that live in California, including you. But what I'm trying to do is see if I can. I hesitate to take this trip until I know exactly how long and where and how long it's going to take me to recharge this vehicle.
Because you can't charge that thing in Reading, you know that.
No, I think there are charging. I think I looked. I think there's charging stations in Reading. I don't think there's a charging station in Weed.
There's got to be. Got to be able to
figured
charge
if
up in
there was
Weed.
any place that would have when it would want you to stop for a half hour.
In fact, there should be a pot shop and a weed charger in the same block, or if not the
The
same
very
store.
least, an electric glider.
Why not?
Now that they, and it's funny because now that they've taken the cigarette lighters virtually out of cars, now they legalize pot.
Yeah. Go figure.
Used to be the old days, remember
Well, that was the argument made about the sprinter that didn't get to go to the Olympics, where when she smoked marijuana, it was legal in the state where she smoked it. But the three drugs found in the system of Kamila Valieva were illegal, and she still gets to skate. So it's a mix. What have we learned in the world? What have we learned in the show today, Vinnie?
As John Hyatt once said, it's a crazy mixed up world.
And Yogi Berra said that too, but he just reversed all the words.
Yeah, he said it was a mixed up, crazy world, I think.
Yeah, but he meant it.
But he meant it in all good spirits. Oh Lordy. All right. I'm gonna retire to the Billy Martin Lounge.
Play a little Billy ball.
Play a little Billy ball. I still actually have a Billy Ball t-shirt.
I have a Good Golly Miss Molly t-shirt from
Calabro.
Yes, Kevin Calabro. Good Golly Miss Molly.
We got to get him on the show. So we got to. I mean, I know we always say this. We're going to book guests, but we have to actually. We probably at some point should get a guest or two, and
just as long as they know that we're not going to let them talk.
Yeah, see, that's the problem. Is that there's there's a lot of words and only a limited amount of space.
I rest my case. In fact, I rested right at the corner of Jane and Mansfield.
Well, Mikey, I decided that I would give you a little going away present this morning. So let's crank this up for you, because I know that you'll know this.
Hey, if you think maybe we can stop this rain.
I can't hear it.
You hear it?
No. It's very faint.
How's that?
No.
The rain chant from Woodstock.
Oh. Who's the announcer? It's a bummer, please. It's a bummer. The brown acid, please. It's a bummer.
Wavy Gravy.
Was that Wavy?
I think that was Wavy, yeah. I think that was Wavy. There's a guy who we haven't, I mean, we used to I don't know. You know, there's a few people that died while I was in my coma, but
No,
is
he's-
Wavy one of them?
No, he's with us.
He's still kicking, right?
That's right. He'll kick me and he'll kick you.
He's he's a guy. Boy, man, he is 1936, man. He's 10 years older than my father would have been, and that's 90, I don't know, 90, 26, 96 years old. 90,
Well,
95 years
clean,
old.
Vinnie, clean living.
Wavy was a hell of a dude.
Always fantastic. And he still has
Always a great guy.
he still has
always,
this
always fun. I mean, I met him 100 times up at the city, and
he still has the Siva Foundation, which cures river blindness in India.
yeah, he's done a lot of. People don't know his his lineage and stuff, but he's done a lot of good for
Good
people.
works.
All right, before we go, we'll give you the question of the day.
Okay.
Wavy Gravy's real name.
Should I answer?
Yeah.
Hugh Romney.
Yes. You Nanton Romney Jr.
Holy moly, that I did not know. He comes from a long line of distinguished gentlemen.
Yes, if he were if he were running for president, I damn well would have voted for him.
Oh, clearly I would have voted for him.
Over the other Romney, certainly.
Every time. All right, Vinny, I'll see you Friday for a fractious Freaky Friday.
Mikey, I'll see you Friday if the Lord's willing, the creek don't rise. And remember, of course, peace, love. We need more than ever. And Manischewitz.
See you in Shpolpakia for the winer. A wine cooler for Shpolpakia.
There you go.
See you, man.
Shpolpakia spirits.